Hey everybody, it's Thunder in the desert. Thought I'd do a video on sacred and profane, the sacred and the profane. Here I am in the desert, by the way. It's 110 degrees today. I was out yesterday. I went into town. I'm on a ranch out here in Sandy Valley, Nevada, and I went into town and to take my exam for a upgrade to my amateur radio license, shortwave stuff. What an ordeal! 110 degrees. Sometimes I ask myself, what the fuck am I doing in the desert? But a lot of holy men went to the desert to fast and to experience harshness and to experience the natural surroundings. Take Yeshua, take Jesus for example. He went to the wilderness, didn't he? And spent a lot of time out there in a harsh environment to true himself out. Anyway, I don't want to get off the subject here. Sacred and profane. What is it? Well, it's two sides of the same coin. It's people walk around and go, well, I'm so naughty. I want to do this, but I know it's wrong, or I want to experience this, but I know it's wrong, or I want to cuss, but people say it's wrong. And so what is right and wrong? What's right and wrong? What's is sacred and profane? Black and white, yin and yang, the natural order of things. How the hell would you know what was wrong unless there was right? How would you know what was right unless there was wrong? How would you know what black was unless there was white to compare to it? How would you know what moral was unless you were immoral? How would you know anything? So go through life as a dumb shit and never experience anything, and go by some moral guideline that some religion puts out, some dogmatic bullshit, to make you think you're a good person when it's all the same thing, baby. So if you want to deprive yourself of certain things because you think it's good or not good, or thinking along those lines, forget it. You're on the wrong track. Do you think that any spiritual man, any holy man, any guru, any person that knows their shit wasn't a complete sinner before they were a saint, or didn't experience that? And Lame Deer, one of the greatest medicine men, I've often said this, said you can't be a saint unless you have been a sinner, because how are you going to know what the fuck the difference is? Okay, you have to put things in perspective, people. It's so important to do that. It's don't deprive yourself of things that you want to do just because you think they're bad. You need to rise above it and look at the bigger picture. Okay, get outside yourself, because that's the only way you're going to know yourself, is by getting outside yourself. And I was also thinking about how people give a lot of weight to things like karma. Oh, it's my karma, man, from a past life. Or when anything goes wrong, oh, it's his karma. Well, what is karma? What is karma? I don't think anybody really knows. The best answer I can come up with is it's biofeedback of life. It's a reflection in the mirror of life. And life can be trying, and life can be full of quote-unquote obstacles, and life can be hell, okay? But on the other hand, it can be heaven, too, okay? It's just like the sacred and profane, the yin and the yang. And the Taoist knows, okay, what that's all about, because it's about the yin-yang symbol, if you've ever seen that, and I'm sure you have, where there's a fish chasing its tail, and there's light on one side and dark on the other, and then the eye in the fish, in the black fish, is light, and in the eye in the white fish is black. So there's yin within yang and yang within yin. Got it? And that's the natural order of things. That's the chaotic natural order of things. Okay? It's change. It's constant change. And it's constant good and evil. Constant chaos. Constant... So good and evil, and yin and yang, and sacred and profane, and moral and immoral, and all that shit is two sides of the same coin. If you flip the coin, you're liable to get either side. Okay? But that coin is life, and that coin is two sides of the same coin. Sometimes you hear the term comedy is close to tragedy. Well, it is. Or humor is, sometimes humor can be tragic, okay? Just read Shakespeare. Now, you know, you look at holy men, okay? I'll just speak from personal experience. I consider myself a holy man. Whether others do or not is their problem. But in the tradition of holy men, let's take Yeshua, and not in the Christian, excuse me, in the Christian tradition. In the Christian tradition, I'll get that out. They look at him as some kind of god. He was a holy man, okay? And got to scratch your head sometimes and think, well, why would somebody that's a holy man die an excruciating death and actually live a life on earth that attracted trouble, attracted attention, attracted hate from different religious parties who he condemned? Why would he do that and attract to himself bad karma or whatever? Excuse me, where's my water? It's dry out here in the desert. I'm telling you, 110 degrees, baby. So why would Jesus, Yeshua, put himself in a situation where he got himself killed, basically? Got himself nailed to a cross or nailed to a torture stake. Fun stuff, huh? Why would he do that? Well, to show that it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion, okay? It's the sacred and profane. It's the yin and yang. So you bypass that. You bypass it, and you resurrect yourself above it, okay? And by resurrecting yourself above it, I mean, what did Jesus do? He says, tear this temple down and I'll rebuild it in 3 days. Well, how long did it take him to resurrect himself? 3 days. And then when he appeared, he shape-shifted into a different form because they didn't even recognize him. And All gurus can do this. All holy men can do this. When they get tired of one body, they just kick that frame and take on another body. And Babaji did the same thing. Excuse me, sorry. I usually have a glass of water here, and it's like, it's not here right now. I just jumped right into this video. Babaji did the same thing, and that's the lineage of gurus that I studied under, or that I'm from. In that tradition, I'm into a lot of traditions, Native American and Taoist and Chinese and Hindu, okay. But my Hindu connection is with the lineage of Babaji, okay. And I am a yogi in that tradition, and I am a holy man in other traditions. You combine all the traditions when you don't rule anything out when you're a spiritual seeker. You include everything. You include all traditions that are on the same wavelength, the same frequency, the same pattern. Okay? And so Chinese has their pattern, Taoist, Hindu has their pattern, but these patterns mesh. They're all connected on a very, very high spiritual level. And they all they all know about the sacred and profane. God damn it, if I clear my throat one more time, I'm going to have a shit fit. You have to understand, people, this desert out here has pollen all over the friggin' place, and it has, but you know what? It's, like I said, it has its own beauty, and it has its own message, okay. A lot of gurus and a lot of holy men, again, went out to desolate places. I kind of was raised in a desolate place, so I'm like returning to home here. I know what I need. I need some tea with sage and lemon, and I should have had that right here, ready to go. Anyway, let's get back to the subject. So when you do something that you think's naughty, oh, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't cuss, or I shouldn't eat that food, or I shouldn't. You have to look at things from the big picture, okay? Because really, seriously, you can rise above anything. When you rise above it and look at it, let's say life. Let's take life, for example. Let's say we want to look at our life, or we want to look at our immediate surroundings, or let's say we want to look at the world affairs and how fucked up they are right now, and how every man's cutting each other's throat, and nations are squaring off with nuclear weapons, and there's madmen in the Middle East committing atrocious acts, and there's people destroying the rainforests, and there's people destroying the planet, and just all this fever pitch chaotic stuff whipping up to what I call emergence, which is a Hopi thought. When you look at all this stuff, and that includes the sacred and profane, this pulsating yin and yang, woo, 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 going on, and it reaches critical mass, and then it dies out, then it reaches critical mass, and then it dies out. If you look at it from a hawk's eye view, and then here I'm getting into my Native American tradition, from the big picture, okay, and you send love, okay, here's where the holy part comes in, okay, people? When you send love, to the big picture. Okay, and that big picture includes everything. It includes war, a disease, a famine, anything that could befall mankind, yourself, others. When you look at the big picture, when you look at it from a big picture of it being an illusion, and you're rising above it, okay? You ever walk around and after a heavy-duty meditation or a big bowl of ganja, have you ever walked around and felt like you were above your body, and you're kind of like, you go into your house and all your furniture looks like toys almost, because you're out of body and you're kind of like you rise above it, okay? You don't feel like you're there, yet you're there. That's a sign of you rising above the mundane, and you're starting to look at the illusion, the big picture. This happens to thunder all the time. It's a daily part of my life. So this is all just like in the Hindu tradition, they call it divine play or lila. So when you rise above it, and you send love to it, you're protected from the effects of it, in a sense. That's as close as you're going to come to being able to protect yourself from the effects of the bullshit, the lower bullshit. You have to shape-shift right on out of it, baby. And you do that through spiritual practices. Or you know, thunder does it because I had a calling. This stuff started happening to me when I was 10 years old. I knew I had a calling. I knew that I was supposed to be a holy man or a wisdom keeper or a watcher or a channel for information. Doesn't matter what I do personally in this lower physical bullshit self, okay? It's what I channel to you when I talk to you. And when I channel things about, let's say, spiritual practices and cosmic breathing and splatter vision and all this stuff that I've talked about in the past, that's me opening up to spirit to channel to you. Doesn't have anything to do with this scene here. The thunder sitting in his bedroom out in the middle of the desert doing a video. The only part that it has to do with is channeling for that video. I'm just a tool to be used by the divine, okay? And so that's why I speak on matters of that I'm talking about right now, so people will kind of get a glimpse, if they can get by the redundancy, so to speak. Because I know sometimes that people look at me and they go, oh, well, he cusses, or he does this, or he's into this or that, whatever. And they're judging me, okay? They're judging me when they do that. And we can judge ourselves, too. We could say, oh, my God, geez, I can't call myself a holy man, or I can't come on and do a video and talk about spirituality and say a cuss word or be down to earth. No. That's totally wrong, okay? Sometimes that's done to just challenge societal thinking and the norm of like what's acceptable. And we see this getting way out of hand now with government control. Just to lower my frequency a little bit here, the latest thing is that they're trying to perpetuate what correct speech is. Permitted speech, they call it. Permitted speech, like on the internet. What happened to freedom of speech? What happened to that concept? Did that just like go out the window now? The Constitution, freedom of speech, or the First Amendment? And all these things are changing continually. It's like, okay, so in the 1946 era, it was Nazi Germany that was bad, you know, in the fascist rulers, and now in 2016, it's the USA in the West and NATO. Here we go again. Yin and yang, baby. Good and bad. Whatever. And things constantly change, like who the bad guy is and who the good guy is. So if you can rise above the bullshit and come from a heart space or a love space, which is basically the heart chakra, and also give yourself a lot of love too, just for existing in the duality. Then you're going to get a foot. You're going to get a foot up on life. Okay, you're going to realize that sacred and profane and all this bullshit that people try to lay on your head is meaningless. It's meaningless. It doesn't really have any meaning other than what you give it. Okay. And that's what happens. We give things meaning because we've been indoctrinated to think that it has that meaning. Okay? Because when we're young, we're indoctrinated, or even when we're in the womb still, we're starting to be indoctrinated, because babies can hear things in the womb. They can hear what their mother and dad are talking about, and if the dad says, I don't want that kid, go get an abortion. Well, then when you come out of the womb, you might not have known, or you might have known, since you might have come from previous life, what that means, but you know eventually what that means when you get older, and it has a connection to your subconscious, which affects you. So the brainwashing starts way, way beyond you're even born, when you're even born. And then when you get out, when you're popped out, societal conditioning with schools and governments and parents telling you what good and evil is, or what right and wrong is. How the hell would they know? Because they went through the same thing of being conditioned by whoever they were around when they popped out. Okay, so it's like the blind leading the enlightened. Because when you're a baby and when you're young, you're more enlightened. But the blind come up and put a pair of shades on you so that you see the world in a certain light, which is no light at all, which is basically darkness. I know I'm on one today, aren't I? Thunder's on a tear today. So anytime anybody judges you because, you're too naughty, or maybe you're sexual or sensuous, or maybe you're into desire or whatever, you have to realize that can be all transmuted into a good thing, Even desire is used in the sacred sexual act of Tantra. Desire is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You use it to raise the Kundalini energy, which is what true yogis and true shaman do. Okay, And they can raise that kundalini energy, the serpent energy that weaves up the spine and opens your crown chakra and opens all your chakras. They can use that to connect with others. And I've done it lots of times. And it's a beautiful thing, okay? If it's done correctly. You don't even have to be in the same room with a person to experience bliss with them. You can do it long distance because there is no long distance. There's no such thing as long distance. There is no such thing as being able to not connect just like you do face to face with somebody on an energy level. On a higher energy level, on a tantric level, it's all about energy, and you can't stop energy. It's like a radio wave. It's like I'm into radio, as you well know, shortwave radio, and one of the reasons I'm into it is because the principles of electricity and the principles of communication and the principles of telecommunication, or the principles of wavelength and frequency and energy and manifestation from one place to another is all exactly like how we are as what I call radio beings. We can use our own brain in the same capacity that we can use in our energy, that a radio transmits waves and connects with somebody else and talks to somebody else and has union even with somebody else on a very high level, which is way above any kind of union that you would imagine in your mind, and it has a blissful orgasmic feeling that is way above anything that you could even picture. And I've had this. And it's like a yogi disciple type relationship, a master student or a mentor type situation. I know I'm rambling on here, but all of this stuff fits, okay? It fits because it's a way of looking at the world. And you can't look at anything as being bad. You just send love to it, okay? And you can't look at anything as really being good. It's the whole ball of wax, and you just got to rise above yourself and send love to all of it. All of it. That's the only way that you can escape. If you want to use the term karma, the karmic effects, karmic is just biofeedback. In a way, it's like life slaps you in the face, and what do? Well, you don't do that again, whatever you did. It's not like you should walk around with a big guilty feeling because you got karma, man. Or you're sowing what you're reaping what you sowed. Or hey, we all do that. It's just a part of the biofeedback, the reflection of life. And when we see something in somebody else that we don't like, guess what? It's a direct reflection of life. It's a reflection of you, because we are all one. Like the Lakota say, Mitako ye o yasin. We are all one. We are all related. We are Shakti Shiva in the Hindu tradition. We are male and female. We are Shakti Shiva. We are yin and yang. And there is no right and there is no wrong, because we live in a world of yin and yang. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, baby. for all you people out there that are Bible thumpers and all that other bullshit, that pronounce judgment on people or live by a set of rules that you don't really live by yourself, and which is really actually impossible to live by, because that's not the way the world works. Get it through your head. Okay. I think I had my say today on that subject. So what I'll do now is I think I'm going to proceed from the bedroom into the kitchen and make myself a cup of, oh, I don't know, some kind of tea, green tea, yerba mate, might be good with a little honey and sage. Then again, I might just have a fucking beer. Because it's all sacred and profane, baby. All right, until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Adios.